Nashville. 31 of the 32 five-star football players are here, 38 total players. The Cavender twins are also here. They basically retired, and now they're going to go play together at Miami.
Yeah.
Women's basketball.
I mean, why wouldn't they?
Right?
And I think that's where they left from and came back. Yeah. They were already hitting it big then, walked away from it. And, I mean, you can't sit and watch.
Plus, Caitlin Clark's gone.
Right.
Angel Reese is gone.
You have a hell of a wave. Why not get on it? If I'm sitting back and I got one more year, you think I ain't going back at 24?
Right, and they have such a huge social media impact.
Exactly.
They're going to make a lot of money. Haley and Hannah Cavender will join us at 4 o'clock. The founder and CEO of On3.com, Shannon Terry, joins us now at the table. Shannon, what's up? How are you?
Doing great. Just need some sunscreen.
Perfect day, man. Perfect day in downtown Nashville.
We did this last year. You guys love the sun.
Yeah.
How does this?
I just went to the bathroom and my knees are sweating. I just said, man, I wear sweats every time we come up here for some odd reason.
Are we not taking care of you guys or what?
Put shorts on.
You love it.
Yeah.
It's fine.
We're at the pool. We're good.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a beautiful breeze on the lanai here at the pool. And this is where Kirby set us up. I don't know. We just kind of go there.
It's amazing.
It is amazing. So, again, walk us through the idea behind this event. Second year?
Second year.
The idea behind this, to bring all the top college football prospects in at one place at one time.
Yeah, couple things here. We wanted On3 to be a pure play college sports company. We knew it was going to take some time. We were coming out of a window of search and social and aggregation and all that, and we wanted to build a real deal old school media company. And so, this is an extension of that, of being real, relationships, talking, reporters, not
face
faking. Face to face.
Yeah.
And kind of the other thing was, I've done this for 28 years with Rivals and 24/7 Sports. I have seen these athletes that have, you name them in the NFL, they've kind of been a part of our program over the years. I've seen their stories play out. I've seen their lives, and this is our give back. Yeah. And we just happened. We met Grant Firking. I met him a year or so before I started On3. He's really connected, does a great job with sales and sponsorship. Yeah. And has a passion for putting on events. And so, his ability to go out and bring people to this thing has helped us make it bigger than it would have otherwise.
Absolutely.
When you first started this and really honed in on the NIL portion and all that, what were people's reactions to you? I saw some of it on social media. I'm not going to lie.
I have very thick skin.
That's good. Yeah.
And I wish people would realize that on social media, because they'd save their time.
No, it wouldn't.
It'd save their time. Yeah. I really, things don't really bother me that much. But man, we took some bullets. When we released the On3 NIL valuation, we took a lot of bullets. And I look back on that, and it's one of the things in my career I'm most proud of, because you had a marketplace. Jaden Rashada was a great example. Coach and player had no clue what their value was, and we all know it's been pay for play from the start. 90% of the NIL money has come from collectives and boosters in that world. And we went out, we did the work, we did the math, we found out how much money is flowing in, where it's coming from, why a quarterback's more valuable than a wide receiver or defensive end, and so forth. And we built models that both the athlete and their families used and the schools and collectives used to get them in a window to have an intelligent discussion about what their value is. We didn't make any money from it. We gave it to them for free, and we were the start of that conversation. And I feel that our model is really accurate. It's exceptionally accurate with the elite top kids. I know that all of these families, they use it. I know the schools use it. It's something that we want to keep working on to make better.
So you were taking bullets from who? Majority-wise?
Well, fans initially are like, well, you shouldn't put publicly what someone is worth.
Yeah.
So that was a problem.
Here's my answer to that. Don't read it.
Yeah, I mean, we weren't trying to disrupt college sports.
Yeah.
The bottom line is this. It was happening. So you can turn the other direction and say, 60 kids on your roster or 30 kids on your roster aren't receiving some form of benefit, but it is happening. And so when something is happening, you can be the parent that turns in the other direction, or you can be the parent that talks about it and tries to be part of the solution. And On3, since we weren't a part, we're not owned by anyone. We don't have a master out there that's saying, here's the socioeconomic, the political, so we can just be who we want to be.
You're not a puppet on a string.
No, we're not puppet on a string. We do what we want to do, and I'm glad we did.
NCAA could be in that category of the parent looking the other way, right? And now here we are.
Yeah, the NCAA is, they took the money as long as they could take it, and don't know that their strategy of doing so was wrong from their perspective. And I've been on a few shows, and everyone's like, well, how do you fix it? What's the future? The first thing that has to be asked is, what's the goal? The NCAA's goal was to maximize, revenue for the presidents, and they did that incredibly effective for generations after generation. That will not necessarily be the total new goal forward. Yeah. There will be other stakeholders at the table now, and I think we're in that workout phase, and it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. But we're just getting started. Nothing really changes with any of these. It's just the next logical step that happens.
Shannon Terry with us, CEO, founder of On3.
As On3 continues to grow, Shannon, this is year 2. What are some of the things you look back on last year and you came to shape for this year?
The number one thing, and I did the curriculum for tomorrow, right. and it's all about, if I had to sum it up in like one sentence, it's life after football.
Yes.
It's maximizing that small 3-year, 4-year window, Slay, that you got in college. Yep. Statistically for NFL, it's 3.3 years. So let's call that 7.3 years. Let's say you double your NFL number. Mm-hmm. It's 10 years. What do you look like for that other 64% of your life?
Right.
And this whole event is structured so that these athletes and their families can put aside the short-term gratification for a hot minute and building that social collateral and say, how do we want to utilize, going back to your school after you're done versus the opportunities while you're there are night and day different. And we want them to understand that my concern, and just generally speaking, look, I don't know many of these athletes. I don't follow it at that level.
Right.
My concern is that the families and the athletes now are making recruiting decisions, and they're making transfer decisions primarily based on who is paying.
Yep.
And that is so concerning and scary for what lies ahead. They're just now grabbing their opportunity. Yep. The more they almost take up front, it's 10x less on the other side. Yep. That's not empirical, but and that's scary. And we want to tell the families, let's slow down, let's take a step back, and let's look at all these factors.
Let me ask you this. With that transparency, and you guys are always transparent with these families, will it come a time where you're able to sit down and have discussions about who's really getting paid this type of money? Like if you're going to a Wisconsin or you're going to an Alabama, wherever it may be, they offer you $1 million, but you're only going to see 400 of it. Like when will that come into play?
Sure. That's coming soon.
Yeah.
And so what you're about to see obviously happen is that, football, and I can't speak for the other non-revenue sports, the media rights are going to start being shared, with the athletes. Okay, that's going to be one side of the revenue stream for, these elite athletes to look at. That number is going to be all public information, and they're going to know how those rosters break down. It's likely going to be up to the school, how they deploy their resources, salary cap kind of deal. But here's the curveball. The collective marketing model isn't going to go away. There's still going to be money for marketing / old school NIL opportunities. And there will be a few schools that really merge those together well, that have rights plus NIL bonus packages. So we're in a long window until there is an association, probably with employment, with collective bargaining, where everyone is working within the same set of rules, which is probably going to take 3, 4, 5 years. We're going to still be in a lot of unknowns.
Shannon Terry with us on 3HL. We'll do another segment with Shannon coming up, and definitely want to ask you, how does this revenue sharing thing affect NIL and the collectives and all that? Get your take on that. That's next. 3HL broadcasting live from the W Hotel in downtown Nashville. The On3 Elite Series going on with 31 of the 32 five-star football players in attendance, 38 total players off of 28 last year. This thing is growing and growing and growing. Shannon Terry, more with him next. 3HL 104.5 The Zone. The Zone, Tupac Tuesday on the Big Show. Who's the Tennessee baseball player that said it calms him to listen to Tupac before playing? Did you see that? Was it Inslee?
Oh, that's a different human being right there, because I couldn't have Pac playing.
Trying to calm down.
No, I had to turn Pac off.
Trying to relax.
No, that ain't calming me down.
On3 Elite Series, Shannon Terry, founder and CEO of On3.com. You may have heard of him. He had Rivals. He had 24/7 Sports, sold both of those, and created On3. And here we are, and we were just talking during the break. I remember the day that you came in, and you were talking to Bob Bell and Bill King, and I was producing that show for them way back, and you were telling them your idea behind Rivals.com, and to go from I remember that day clearly, and to go from that day to right now, it's crazy to even think about.
Been a long journey. No one could have thought, what digital would be and the internet, so to speak. But it's 3 decades. 3 decades. It's been a long time, and it's been a fun run.
Shannon Terry with us on 3HL. All right, so we get the revenue sharing deal. All right.
Yep.
There are varying opinions on what you read. The people that Slay and I both talked to say nothing's going to happen with regard to the NIL, the collectives, all that. And the phrase I used with Chris Lowe, he agreed. We were talking with him the other day. You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. What do you think about that? Well, what happens with the collectives and the NIL?
Yeah, for a while there'll be all different types of models. I think that will happen. You'll see some schools try to bake marketing firms that help the athletes now that there is a media rights sharing platform. You'll see some schools that will go all in on collectives alongside the media rights. You're going to see across the board. But here's what you're going to see no matter what. Athletes are going to get a share of the media rights pie.
Do people understand how big that number is?
It's enormous.
Yeah.
And Slay.
Yeah.
Boy, you missed your time, bro.
Oh, my God.
You missed your time.
Lord.
Did this guy not capitalize on all
Hey,
this?
I'm telling you, I remember showing up at Pearl Cone, watching him. I think he was a junior in the gym by himself, because I was over there. I think I was looking, I want to say Santonio Beard at the time, and I saw you playing, and I was like, man, that's the future of basketball right there. And that's the truth. Big kids that can handle. But you're going to have revenue, ride sharing, but you're also still going to have NIL collective money, because it's going to take both buckets at the very top when the arms race continues.
Almost like extra credit.
Extra bonus money.
Yeah.
And until the system is completely built, where there is some form of an employment model or not, some form of collective bargaining or not, some form of a new association that pulls out the revenue sports or not, some form of federal action, on top of all of this or not. Athletes will be able, Ron Slay, to dip from both buckets of money for their bag. It is the greatest time in the history to be an athlete. Yes. You just missed the window, young man.
Right there.
You were right there.
That's right there. and that's high school and college.
Most high school states, or most states, are moving in that direction. There's still 20 or so states that have not.
Is there that many?
There's quite a few states that still haven't adopted legislation for high school players to receive NIL. So what you're seeing is basically athletes are deferring their NIL until their last day of their last play of the last game, because then the only thing held over them would be eligibility, of which at that point in time it doesn't matter.
They don't care.
It's not an NCAA issue. It's a state high school association issue.
So SEC spring meetings going on. Obviously, this is a talking point down there. It's almost like everyone's talking out of both sides of their mouth, but when asked about collective bargaining, Greg Sankey said, to be in collective bargaining, you have to be in an employment situation. I've not had a student athlete come to me and say they want to be taxed like an employee. You would also run into like union issues too, right? And we were talking with Andy Staples about this. Some of the SEC footprint allow unions, and some don't. So how does that all work out?
There's a lot of pieces there, but I will say, I love Sankey's half quote there. The best years of my financial life is when I paid a lot of taxes. So paying a lot of tax is not necessarily a bad thing. Here's the reality of it. You are right that there are 170,000 Division I athletes. There's 8,900 men's basketball and men's football P4, P5 players. Okay, everyone else, they don't need to be an employee. They can't be an employee. They're already getting more value through their education and perks. So my 170 minus 9 is, that's a lot. So those, if they were employees, they're gonna owe a lot of money for all the benefit that they've received. Okay, so there's just a lot to work out here, but we're a long way from collective bargaining. I mean, we have antitrust issues still at bay. We have
which you brought up last year at this show.
Title IX issues. This latest settlement is just a start, and it's a watershed day now in that the NCAA is saying, okay, schools will be paying athletes, and here's some of the mechanics to it, but it's just the start.
How does Title IX factor into this?
Well, the first thing you're going to say is, well, who gets a share of the revenue?
Right.
And so under the current makeup, there are Title IX laws for what women's sports receive and what men. In order, I think, to meet those statistical, numerical breakdowns, there would probably have to eliminate a lot of the women's sports to even come close to having the revenue there to disperse that. Hence, I think some of the information that we've heard about some of these sports being in jeopardy. Now, it's all sad. I don't think it will come to that. And I'll tell you, it will not come to that because all of these years, and look, we launched On3 Her this year. Too late. A women's college sports and high school sports media brand dedicated to women's sports is on the rise.
Yeah.
It is on the rise in softball. It is on the rise in volleyball. We know about the basketball. It is a great time, and fans are buying it. I have a daughter. Now, she didn't play. She played tennis, but I On3 is all about it. I regret that we're a startup and we had to wait 2.5 years to get this far, in it. But I don't honestly, no matter what happens, I guarantee you, knock on wood here, you're not going to see any damage to women's sports.
No. Good.
Interesting. So the Cavender twins are here.
Yeah.
Interesting story there.
Speaking of, capitalizing on this, yeah.
And they have a huge social media impact.
Yeah.
And I guess, Livy Dunn of women's basketball, Don was talking about.
Gymnastics, yeah.
Yeah, but these guys with
right.
women's
Oh, they are they're the Livy of basketball, right?
So I think it's a testament to what you guys are doing that they are here.
Yeah, it's like most football, basketball athletes aren't very good at marketing themselves, and they're very private on social media, etc. And women's sports, women athletes, they've had to be good on social media because their platforms weren't large enough. Their team platforms weren't large enough. And for us to have, the Cavender twins have done a great job of branding themselves, doing NIL deals, and to have their influence and expertise, around these athletes and families.
You had Livy last year.
And we had Livy last year.
Yeah.
And that is a calculated, tight ship. You talk to mom. I didn't meet dad. You talk to mom. You talk to Livy. Everything that they do is with pure and absolute assassin intention. And it's okay. I think it's okay for the male athletes to see some of this. It's just different. Like how's that going to be perceived in the locker room?
Right.
How are the coaches going to receive that? But they need to at least have the conversations.
Shannon Terry, founder, CEO of On3.com. Thanks for having us out here, man. Always a great time for us and so informative. We appreciate your perspective on all this.
Appreciate it. See you next year, hopefully.
You do a great job of breaking down big picture ideas into bullet points. And
yes, so we don't have to read 12,000 articles and try and figure it out. Thanks, Shannon.
And literally throughout the course of the year, we'll be like, remember when Shannon Terry said this?
Every time.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it. So